Hello everyone!
Today we're going to do a tutorial on how I make my resin geode coasters inspired by elements in nature. This specific coaster set was inspired by this Opal geode. My favorite part is the bluish purple iridescence that you can see shining through the cracks of this geode, so I will try to recreate that.
Wow! Wow!
First step is to mix your epoxy resin according to the directions on the bottle. I recommend using a medium viscosity resin. Next, mix your colorants into your epoxy resin. Be sure to save clear resin on the side. For a list of all the products used in this video, see the written tutorial link in the description below. If you are attempting to get the same effects that I accomplished in this tutorial, pour your pigments in the same order I do in the video. My favorite part of these coasters is the dragon scale effect on the outer edges. To achieve this dragon scale effect, you must pour your epoxy colored with alcohol ink first, before pouring your epoxy colored with pigment powders. As you can see in the video, I use the epoxy resin that I have colored with rosewood alcohol ink and pour it on the edges of each of my coaster molds. To complete the dragon scale effect, use the epoxy resin colored with pigment powder and place it either directly on top of or right beside the epoxy resin colored with alcohol ink. For this pour, I use two different colors of pigment powder. One is a white opal color and the other is a blue opalescent color. For unique coasters with differing effects, pour your pigment powders in different orders and varying patterns. Next, I use an epoxy resin that I have heavily colored with a red resin dye. Here, I am adding more of that white opal pigment powder to the remaining coasters. The last pigment I used is an acrylic ink in a dark bluish green color. I poured this color sparingly because I did not want it to take over the entire coaster. Next, from about 6 inches above my coasters, I pour clear resin into the coasters to fill them to the top. At this point, I can see I am on the right track because some of that pearlescent opal color pigment is showing through the clear resin. Here, I randomly put the leftover colored epoxy resin into each coaster. If you used all your colored epoxy in the first pass, don't worry about it. You will still achieve beautiful effects. I just have some weird aversion to not using all of my epoxy resin because I always find myself trying to add the rest of my colored resin into the pieces I create, even when it's really time to just call it quits. As usual, it is important to use a heat gun or torch lighter to pop any micro bubbles that have risen to the surface of your epoxy resin. Remember not to hold your heat source in one place for too long, as your epoxy resin will start to burn and it will not cure correctly. Obviously, adding embellishments is optional, but for these coasters, I put clear glitter glass into the center of each coaster, followed by some bronze glitter glass into the center of each coaster. One more pass with my heat gun helps the glitter glass fall to the bottom of each coaster. If you are struggling to get your embellishments to sink to the bottom of your coasters, use a toothpick or popsicle stick to lightly push them down. You may also use this popsicle stick to make small designs in the center of your coaster. However, less is more at this point in the project because the pigments do a wonderful job of creating beautiful effects all by themselves. Let your coasters cure overnight. And here is the final result. Unfortunately, it is hard to make out the opal shimmer effect on video, but I will try to include some snapshots at the end that show the full effect. The next product photos show the iridescence in the coasters quite nicely. Remember to subscribe and please like and share this video. If you press that thumbs up button, it signals to me that you like this content so I can continue to make more. Visit craftalotresinco.com to check out all of the coasters available in the nature collection today. I hope everybody has a beautiful day and happy crafting!